Hi guys, today I am back to film my top 10 under $10. I'm not sure if this is a tag. I've seen some people do it as a tag and I've seen other people do it before. It was like a tag, I think. But I have 10 things that are under $10 and then I have a couple honorable mentions that I'm going to talk about. Some of them are under $10, some of them are like just over. We'll deal with those when we get there. So I'm going to start with face products and kind of move down to like lips and stuff. So first up, this is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I've talked about this numerous times. It is one of my like all-time favorite drugstore foundations. The coverage is not full coverage. I would say it's like a medium coverage, because if I have a breakout or something, I still like need to conceal it, or like my freckles and stuff will still show through. So it's enough to kind of cancel out like the very minimal redness that I'll get in my skin, but it's not enough to like conceal a zit that's like really red or cover my freckles. So it just kind of like nicely evens out my skin. It's kind of my skin but better, sort of, because it's kind of got that lighter coverage, but it is matte. This foundation is super, super matte, which is one of the reasons I love it, because I tend to get very, very oily, especially during the summertime. It's impossible for me to keep any makeup on. And this is one of the few that I can actually rely on to stay on pretty much all day and not get super oily. It also helps with the porelessness. I feel like it does make my skin look a lot more poreless than a lot of other foundations. Depending on what primers I use and stuff, it can be absolute perfection depending on what I use, but this does do pretty well on its own. Again, shade range with this I think is really, really good. Last time I checked it was pretty good, and they had actually expanded a few more, adding a few more darker shades I believe, so that's even better. This for me is one of the few foundations that I can actually wear and do not have to mix anything with it. I mean, of course, if I want more coverage I could mix something with this, but shade-wise it's perfection. It matches me so, so well, and that's just really hard to find, especially at the drugstore. It's hard to find in higher-end brands, but let alone at the drugstore, it's almost impossible. So that has always impressed me about this foundation, is the shade range with this. If you do have more dry skin, they do have a more like dewy and smooth formula. I've never tested that one out just because I knew it was not going to be something that was going to stay on my skin. So taking a look at the Ulta website, this foundation is $7.99 on there. Prices always vary a little bit depending on like where you go and stuff, but just under $10, and I've mentioned this foundation 1,000 times, so you guys know it's good. So that's number one. Sorry if there's a lot of Maybelline in this list. I don't know why, but their products to me are always one of the better ones that work for me. Next up is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. The only problem I have with this concealer is I don't feel like there's a great color for me. Right now I have this in the lightest one, which is Fair. I believe it's like Fair 10 or something like that, but they do have, I think, 2 or 3 other colors after that, and then they have a neutralizer color and a brightening color. The neutralizer color is slightly yellow and the brightening is like very pink. But I feel like we've all kind of heard about this concealer. It has like a little sponge tip. This I think has pretty good coverage. There is a swatch of it there. It's not super, super full coverage. I have concealers that do give me a little bit better coverage, but I think for day-to-day, this is probably my favorite concealer. It is so quick and easy to blend out. It is weightless. It's just everything I would want in like an everyday concealer. Because not every day am I going to go like full glam and I want like full coverage on my under eyes. I just don't need that. I don't have severe discoloration and stuff, so for a day-to-day, just like nice, kind of wake me up, make me look a little more bright-eyed, this is a great concealer. This is, let me see, on the Ulta website it is $8.99. Again, prices vary a little bit, but this is number 2. So number 3 is my Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighters. This one here is Peach Lights and this one here is Golden Lights. They are, if you feel them to the touch, they feel dry and they don't feel like they're going to be anything really that great. Even when I first applied them, I didn't think that I was going to really like them that much because they just don't feel very nice. But they always show up. They are beautiful. Like sometimes when I watch my videos and I'm wearing these, I cannot believe the highlight that I have because of them. They are stunning. This one actually doesn't feel that bad. It feels pretty creamy actually, surprisingly. It's not the creamiest highlighter I've ever used, but it's not bad. The other one I really like, I believe, is Radiant Lights. That one is a beautiful, very subtle highlighter. but as you can see, these two are a little bit more intense. There's a swatch of them on my hand there. That one is the Golden Lights. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see Peach Lights. That one's a little more subtle. It kind of blends into my skin a little bit more, but they're beautiful. They blend out super nicely. They don't look chalky on the skin. They do blend in pretty nicely with your skin. And like I said, I'm actually really surprised how intense they are. According to the Ulta website, these are $6, which is pretty good. My only complaint about these is the packaging is really cheap. I know a lot of people have complained about their lid breaking off, and there's just no way to like kind of salvage it after that. A lot of people still use it anyways. Mine, I have not had a problem with the lid breaking off. Number 4, these are my Wet n Wild Ombre Blushes. I got rid of In a Purple Haze, so I only have the other two. This one here is My Thai Buy You a Drink, and this one here is the Princess Daiquiris. The Princess Daiquiris is my all-time favorite. It's just a beautiful like nudish color on me, and My Thai Buy You a Drink is a little more peachy. It's a little darker. I have heard someone say in a review that they didn't really like these because they feel like they're not going to work on darker skin tones. I do kind of agree. I don't think they'll work very well on darker skin tones. I just don't think they're going to show up very well. But for me, for fair skin, I'm almost looking for blushes that are not that pigmented because I don't want to overdo it. These, I feel like they do have good pigmentation. I can overdo it with these, but the colors are light enough that they just work really, really well on my skin. I'm very impressed with these. I've always heard good things about the Wet n Wild blushes, but I've never tried them. So I'm very impressed with these. Like I said, they just give my skin this beautiful glow. They're just wonderful. So these are number 4. Number 4. I think I forgot to mention the price for these. According to, it looks like Target's website, they are $4.99. So very, very affordable. Next up, these are my NYX Baked Blushes. I have talked about these quite a few times in favorites as well. This one here is Chiffon. This one I have a lot of like hard pan on, but this is very, very close, I feel like, to Rocketeer from Benefit. It's beautiful. It's kind of that like brownish mauve-y color. It's so pretty. It's one of my favorites for fall. And the other one I have and really love and enjoy, this is Ladylike. This is pink with like gold shimmer or kind of glitters in it. The glitters can show up sometimes. Sometimes I feel like they're not as noticeable. But because they're baked, they do have a beautiful sheen to them. So they look really, really nice on the skin. I'll give you guys some swatches really quick. Oh, this top one here is Ladylike, and then this bottom one here is Chiffon. They just are so nice and they blend out. I feel like they don't get a very good rep, especially on YouTube. I've seen some pretty bad reviews for them, but I don't know, those two colors for me, I really, really love. The other ones I've had in the collection I do like, but I've noticed that a lot of them are very peachy and they tend to pull very orange on me. So I found that those two colors I really like. If they had expanded the range a little more, I think I'd find a lot more of them that I do like. But I've mentioned them so many times I could not leave them out of this video. They're an absolute favorite for me. So that, let me see, I believe those are, they're $6.99. So again, not too bad, pretty affordable. And there's kind of a great blush option. So that is number 5. Next up is another kind of, I feel like this is kind of obvious. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Powder. I have went through so many of these. This is the translucent color. I always get that one because I feel like I worry about if I get one of the ones with the shade that it would like oxidize. So I always get translucent and have no problems with it. This one's almost gone. I meant to grab my backup to show you guys, but I mean, you can kind of see the little bit of powder around the outer pan, but I don't know, this powder, I wear this with every single foundation and it just helps keep me very matte, very poreless, and it just gives me like a nice airbrushed look. One of those products that I just love to, like when I check on my makeup throughout the day, I like to reapply this just because it gives me such that beautiful airbrushed look. It's wonderful. Again, the shade range with this I think though is not quite as good as the actual liquid foundation. I think it's a little bit, I think what I want to say, last time I was at Ulta they only had like 6 colors in the matte and poreless and in the more like dewy smooth powder, which I think is a little bit strange to have such a huge range of the liquids and then not a huge range for the powders, but it's Maybelline. Price for this is $7.99, so it's the same as the liquid foundation. I don't know that I would ever, I've only ever owned the translucent one, so I don't know if I would ever use this as a powder foundation. if I maybe got a shade one and it had some decent coverage, I might try it as a powder foundation, but for me, I mostly love this as a setting and finishing powder. So this is number 6. These I feel like are another obvious favorite. I feel like everybody's talked about these at some point. These are the L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadows. This one here is an Iced Latte, and then this one here is an Amber Rush. These are my 2 favorites, but I do have 2 more, and I feel like these are probably the more talked about ones. Iced Latte, kind of, but I know Amber Rush for sure has been very, very talked about. These are like basically pressed pigments. I wish there was more shades, which I know is crazy because they already have like a pretty good shade range, but they're so intense. Like, these are probably what I picture the Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadow as being like, and I don't know, I'm just waiting for that one color in this formula or the Makeup Geek ones that just really I'm drawn to. And I haven't really found that yet, but I do really, really like these colors, and they are just so creamy. Like, there's Amber Rush. Let me give you a swatch of Iced Latte. But they're just so creamy, and you do kind of have to keep a little stopper in there to keep them, I don't know if that's to help keep them moist or to kind of help keep it pressed down, but you do have to keep that in there. So there's Amber Rush and Iced Latte. Iced Latte is one of my favorite like inner corner highlight colors. It's just so brightening and just makes my eyes look huge. It's just one of my favorites. It's probably something I'm going to use on my wedding day because I want it to look very bright-eyed and awake, obviously. And it's just such a beautiful shimmery color. It is really long-lasting too. I'm always impressed when I wear this because I feel like whatever I put on my inner corner doesn't always last the longest. It kind of seems like it's the first color to really fade throughout the day. And that one, because it's so intense that even if it fades a little bit, it's still there and it's still very intense and you can really notice it. But they're so creamy and so long wearing. They are, let me see here, they're $7.99 too, so again, not a bad price. I think for an eyeshadow it's a little pricey, but because they're pressed pigments and you are probably, I've only seen like 1 or 2 people ever finish those. You're probably never going to finish them unless you actually intentionally pan them and try to finish them. I think $7.99 is not a bad price. That's pretty good. So those are absolutely wonderful, and I believe those are number 7. Next up, these are the Maybelline Color Sensational Creamy Matte Lipsticks. I have quite a few of these. I don't have the entire shade range, but I easily could, and I would probably love them all. I've had to restrain myself and tell myself no, that I don't need them all. But these are one of the best matte lipsticks I have ever tried. Today I do have a liquid lipstick on, and this one's actually not too bad. It's pretty comfortable, but for the most part, I don't really love the feeling that liquid lipsticks give me. I like the matte look, but I don't like how they make my lips feel. They just feel very dry and kind of shriveled up. These don't do that because they are so creamy. Again, this is another favorite that's been all over YouTube and people have talked about it a million times, but they're so pigmented, like just one little swipe. That is Touch of Spice. And then the next one I have, this is Lust for Blush, and I'll try to show you guys here. Well, that one came out a little splotchy, but that one is Lust for Blush. So they do have a lot of different colors in these, so I think that if you're maybe new to matte lipsticks, these might be something that you want to try because they're kind of feel more like a traditional lipstick. They're very creamy and stuff, but they just have that more like matte velvety finish. And again, they have a ton of colors, so I think a lot of people will be able to find something that they like. These are $7.99 as well. That seems to be the common price or theme for today anyways. But I love these. I have a ton of colors of them. These are just 2 of my favorites. But these are number 8. So for number 9, I might kind of be cheating on this, but I couldn't pick on just one. Like, there's too many. Pretty much all of NYX's lip products to me are an absolute favorite. I love them all. I have a ridiculous amount of them. I would say that most of my lip products are probably all NYX because they're so affordable. They have so many different formulas, different colors. They're just fantastic. So number 9 is NYX lip products. I have a couple of my favorites here. This is the NYX Matte Lipstick in Aria. This is not as creamy as the last ones that I showed you, but these are very pigmented and they are pretty creamy. They're just not quite as creamy. I'll give you guys a swatch of that one. There's Aria. So you can see too, it's really intense and very pigmented. Dropping things. And they don't dry out my lips horribly bad, and they do stay pretty well. Butter glosses. These, I feel like I needed these in high school. Like, this would have been my jam. I would have been all over this. This would have been my absolute favorite in high school. I can tell you that right now. This one is in the color Creme Brulee. It's just a nice pinky nude. I went through 2 of these already. I love them. Creme Brulee in particular is the one I went through 2 of them because I love this color. But these are just such a nice buttery gloss. They're not super pigmented. They are pretty pigmented, but they're not like opaque, like almost like a glossy liquid lipstick. They're not like that. They are a gloss. So there is some sheerness to them, but they are pretty pigmented. And I have a ton of colors in this formula. Next up is the NYX High Voltage lipsticks. These did not get a very good rep. I think when they first came out, people weren't really crazy about them. And I kind of get it. They are just such a creamy formula. They do kind of feel like they're slipping and sliding all over your lips. This particular color in Rockstar, I know I have to wear it with a lip liner because otherwise it's kind of messy. But they're so pigmented. Like, let's see if I can show this on camera. That's Rockstar. Just one little quick swipe. They're so good. They're so hydrating and just have really fantastic colors. These I think are on clearance right now. Last time I checked they were only $2.99, so that's a pretty good price for these. Soft matte lip creams. These are kind of more like a liquid lipstick. I would say they're probably not as long wearing as a typical liquid lipstick. I feel like they wear off a little bit, but they wear off super gracefully. I feel like they don't have like that weird thing where you have like, you know, the inner part of your lips, like there's nothing there, and then the outer part is nothing. This, if anything, it wears off in the outer corners of my mouth just very slightly. So they, like I said, I feel like they wear off with grace, but these are very pigmented. They do dry out your lips a little bit, but I don't think it's that bad, or at least to me, I've had other lipsticks that are just way worse. This color is Rome. So there's Rome. And then lastly, the NYX Liquid Suede. These are not as drying as the soft matte lip creams. They are like a matte liquid lipstick kind of, but they're kind of more of a velvety matte. They're like not super matte, but these are another great formula. Again, very pigmented. Let me give you another swatch. This one is Stone Fox, so you can see, again, very pigmented, and then once it actually dries down and sets, it'll be matte. So another formula that I really like from them, I have the color Tea and Cookies in this as well, and it's really good. The only other bad thing I think I could say is the soft matte lip creams sometimes are maybe a little patchy depending on what colors you get, and they can be a little chalky too depending on what colors you get. But the NYX lip products, like I said, the high voltages are $2.99, and then the highest price I see looks like it'd be like $6.99. So they're, again, very affordable. You can get a ton of them because Ulta almost always has them on sale, and I've noticed a lot of other places that carry NYX usually have some kind of sale on them, so you can usually get a pretty good price or get quite a few of them for a really good price. So sorry if it's cheating, but I had to include all of the NYX lip products because they're all really good. And finally, we are at number 10 before I talk about some of the honorable mentions. These are the Rimmel Exaggerate lip liners. These are really nice. These are some of my favorite lip liners because they're very creamy, they're opaque, and they're probably I would say they're the longest lasting lip liner that I've ever used. I have quite a few colors in these, but I'll just show you the 3 that I have. Let me see here. The 3 that I have in front of me are Rapture, Addiction, and Enchantment. East End Snob is one of my favorites. It's kind of I think on most people it'd be like a pinky nude. On me it's a little bit more of a darker pinky nude. It's not quite super nude on me. So there's just a little swatch of those 3. Very pigmented, like I said. They're really creamy and they kind of have like a little bit of stickiness to them, but since they're a lip liner, I wouldn't really expect anything less from them. So I think if you want to try out a lip liner, these would be a good place to go just because they're really good, and they kind of remind me of the ColourPop ones a little bit, which we could include them in here too because they're under $10. But these are, let me see, $6.99. ColourPop ones I think are like $5 or $6, so they're around the same price. And you know, like ColourPop has a few more colors than they do with these, but these are, I think, are a little more accessible for people, and they're fantastic. So that was number 10. So kind of on to the honorable mentions. Some of these things I just don't feel like I've owned them long enough to include them in the top 10. Some of them are, like I said, just over $10, but we'll kind of talk about that as we go. Next up, this is the Rimmel. It's like the Kate collection. It's like the Kate like nude collection. This is the lipstick in 45. This has become my favorite nude lipstick. And I'm going to go ahead and do another swatch. There it is there under Stone Fox. This has just been in my purse since I bought it. My favorite lip product to touch up with throughout the day. It's got like a cherry like chapstick scent to it, and it's just very, very comfortable on the lips. I love it. The only reason it didn't make the top 10 is because this is the only Rimmel Lasting Finish lipstick that I have. And the other color that I got in this line I didn't really love, which the formula was fine, just didn't love the color. So I do want to try out some more of these, and that's kind of just why I didn't include it in here, is because I feel like I haven't tried enough of the other colors to really say this is a top 10. But this particular color is definitely a top 10 for me. So this one is over the $10 mark, but if you go to Ulta and use a $3.50 coupon or things are on sale, you can get it for less than $10. But I wanted to include it in here too because it's just, two of the products in here are really, really good in my opinion. This is the Maybelline Master Contour Palette. I have mine in like the light medium shade. I think there's also like a medium deep or medium dark color, which isn't really that dark sadly, but I absolutely love the blush and the highlighter in here. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but my highlighter has definitely seen better days. Like, it is starting to kind of dip down. It's kind of, I don't know, it just has seen better days. And the blush is just super, super pigmented. It goes with a lot of different makeup looks. I find myself reaching for this even when I'm not really expecting to. Like, I'm like, oh, I just used that without even thinking about it. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to make sure I use this blush today. And by accident, I will just automatically reach for this because it's just such a great, like, go-to palette. It's $12.99 though, so it is over the $10, but like I said, if they're on sale or you have a $3.50 coupon, you might be able to kind of use that instead. The contour color in here is the only other bad thing I would say. I use it as a bronzer because it's very, very warm, and I don't really like cool contour colors anyways, but it's just, it's very red toned, so that's kind of the only reason why I really don't like the contour color in that. But otherwise, the blush and the highlighter is worth the price alone in my opinion because it's so good and it's so perfect for traveling. So that's just kind of an honorable mention. I tried not to mention ColourPop too much in this video because they are technically under $10, but I wanted to include things that you could easily get, like, you know, go to Walmart and pick it up, or you can go to Target and pick it up, you can go to Ulta and pick it up. You can easily, you know, just find somewhere and go pick it up. And ColourPop, you'd have to order online, you'd have to wait for it to get to your house. So I kind of didn't include them in the actual top 10, but this is my all-time favorite highlighter and I couldn't leave it out. It's the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek in Lunch Money. Super, super creamy, super, super great. I love it. There's a little swatch of it there. I'm running out of places to swatch it. I tried to swatch it there. I don't know if you're gonna be able to really see it. It just gives my skin this beautiful, like, natural gold glow. And the formula is like butter with these. It blends out super, super nice. I think the Super Shock cheeks are $8. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they're like $8. So again, under $10, very affordable, but you do have to order online and wait for them to get to your house. Some person tried to tell me that Sephora carries ColourPop, but I'm pretty sure they don't. Pretty sure ColourPop is only carried on ColourPop's website, but maybe in the future they will be more accessible, I'm not sure. But like I said, this is one of my favorite highlighters. I couldn't leave it out. And this last one too is another huge favorite. I just couldn't leave it out because I didn't really include that many eyeshadows in here, and this is just so, it's pretty close to $10. This is the Carly Bible BH Cosmetics palette. I've talked about before how this is just such a huge favorite for me. It's like one of my top 3 eyeshadow palettes, I would say. The formula is just so nice, and you get 4 highlighters. Not gonna lie, the highlighters pretty much don't work for me because I'm so fair, but the first one does, the like lightish pink colored one, that works for me. The other ones are a little too dark, but the shadows and stuff in here are so good. They are so creamy, they blend out so nice. I have been seeing this palette get talked about a lot more on YouTube lately, so I think the fact that they're now at Ulta makes it a little easier for people to get their hands on, and people are more likely to buy it. However, this palette is $14.50, so it is over the $10 limit. But again, if you use a $3.50 coupon or something, I don't know. But anyways, like I said, the eyeshadows in here are super, super good. I'm going to swatch from the highlighters too. They're just beautiful. The shimmer shades are just stunning. The mattes are really good too. You can see there, it's just really, really good. I can't with this palette. I just could go on all day about how good it is and how wonderful it is, and yeah. So like I said, it's $14.50, so it is over the $10, but if you can just make that little extra splurge, it's totally worth it. It's a wonderful eyeshadow palette. And like I said, now it's carried at Ulta. I don't know if it's still carried in all stores. I know my store when I was working there had a couple palettes, but they were selling out pretty quickly. And I don't know if they ended up getting more or if they ended up making room for BH Cosmetics, how that works, but I know it is on Ulta's website at least. So again, kind of not convenient if you can't get it in store, but it's worth the price. So that is my last product. I hope this was at least somewhat helpful. I could seriously talk forever about fantastic drugstore makeup. A couple other videos I did want to mention I have coming up, besides the obvious ones, because it's like getting to be like the end of the month, so Project Pan, favorites, all that kind of thing. I do want to do how I did my makeup in high school. I want to do, I'm trying to think, a couple product reviews I have coming up, and I feel like there's one other like big video I wanted to film, but I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. Ride or Die makeup tag would be another big one I wanted to get filmed. I had originally planned on filming it today, but things just weren't allowing me to do that. So anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.